If you look closely at the European youth today, a quiet rebellion is taking place across London, Paris, and Berlin. Millions of ambitious minds are silently turning away from the traditional 9-to-5 trap, choosing instead to decode the hidden architecture of the global economy. This video is your exclusive map to that architecture. By mastering the hidden rules of leverage and capital flow, you will transition from a mere cog in the machine into its ultimate architect, unlocking absolute financial autonomy. The societal matrix is meticulously designed to keep you subservient, comfortable, and profoundly average. You are conditioned to accept a stagnant salary, a lifetime of debt, and the illusion of freedom through a brief annual vacation. When you demand more from existence, the collective tries to shame your ambition as baseline greed. In reality, the true malice lies within a system that exploits your labor to fund the absolute freedom of the elite. The primary barrier preventing young minds from achieving extreme wealth is the paradox of choice. The digital landscape floods your vision with conflicting pathways, from cryptocurrency speculation to algorithmic trading. This constant noise leaves you mentally paralyzed, terrified of committing to the wrong path. Life is not an academic examination with a single correct answer. There are multiple avenues to extreme leverage, but refusing to choose out of fear means the system will choose poverty for you. This passive state of existence defines the first phase of financial stagnation, known simply as drifting. Individuals trapped in this loop float aimlessly through the economic current, waiting for external luck rather than commanding reality. They migrate from one superficial side hustle to another, blind to the structural forces holding them down. An ancient truth states that if you refuse to architect your own vision, someone will hire you to build theirs. No external entity is waking up with the desire to make you wealthy or free. The only individual capable of prioritizing your financial ascension is staring back at you in the mirror. You must confront your current position with absolute, unfiltered honesty. The common narrative that money cannot buy happiness is a calculated falsehood fed to the masses for decades. Wealth is the ultimate form of modern autonomy, and autonomy is the prerequisite for true human fulfillment. To escape the current of mediocrity, you must alter your entire trajectory through a single, uncompromising psychological shift. You must cease letting life dictate your terms, and instead become entirely consumed by one objective. This introduces the second critical phase, which is pure obsession. The material results of this psychological shift may take months to manifest, but the initial internal decision alters your trajectory permanently. True ambition requires discarding the balance that society aggressively promotes. Young people often claim they want wealth, yet they simultaneously try to master musical instruments, train for marathons, and learn multiple languages. If an aspiring athlete attempted to master 5 unrelated disciplines simultaneously, you would immediately recognize their delusion. Becoming a multimillionaire requires an elite level of focus that only a fraction of the global population will ever possess. The marketplace operates on cold, mathematical laws. You are compensated in direct proportion to the unique value you scale, and your lack of wealth is simply a reflection of your current lack of high-value leverage. To change this, you do not need to invent a revolutionary technology or predict the next volatile asset bubble. You simply need to identify a highly profitable, existing mechanism and master its execution better than the competition. This process of identification represents the third phase, which is discovery. The most efficient method to master an economic skill is to find an operator who is already operating at an elite level, and reverse engineer their blueprint. High-leverage domains such as advanced media architecture, global logistics supply, and sophisticated deal syndication are open to anyone. You must approach these domains like an intelligence operative, analyzing every hidden mechanism, operational bottleneck, and consumer demand. Once the blueprint is uncovered, you must enter the fourth phase, which is acceleration. This requires transitioning from passive analysis into aggressive, imperfect execution. You must be entirely willing to look incompetent in the beginning to achieve mastery in the end. To accelerate this phase, you must seek cold, unvarnished criticism from experts completely outside your social circle. The opinions of your friends and family are completely useless in this pursuit. They either seek to protect your feelings, or they lack the economic literacy to provide objective guidance. Relying on comfort will keep you trapped in a loop of repetitive failure. Acceleration requires moving past the echo chamber of average minds and embracing what elite performers refer to as the lonely chapter. During this phase, you will experience a profound disconnect from your past environment and childhood peers. This alienation occurs because their ambitions no longer align with your financial reality. Yet you have not yet ascended high enough to sit with the elite. It is a sterile, isolating middle ground where the vast majority of people lose their resolve and retreat to comfort. Pushing through this isolation requires an almost irrational level of discipline. True acceleration is amplified when you surround yourself exclusively with operators who are fighting the exact same economic battles. The psychological leverage gained from standing in the trenches with ambitious minds is infinitely more valuable than passive consumption of online content. You must actively seek out high-performance communities, whether through specialized networks or elite syndicates, to ensure you do not endure the friction of growth alone. When your execution begins to generate massive capital, you face the final phase, which is absolute freedom. At this juncture, you will realize that the most critical asset in the entire economic equation is your own mind. The skills, networks, and emotional control you develop will compound far faster than any traditional financial instrument. You will possess the power to operate from any geographic coordinate, completely immune to the control of an employer. However, a critical distinction exists between being merely rich and being truly wealthy. Generating high income allows you to purchase temporary status symbols like luxury vehicles and designer apparel. True wealth, conversely, is built by aggressively reinvesting that capital back into your own high-value skills and cash-flowing assets while you are young. Spending your initial capital to impress average people is a profound betrayal of your future potential. The architecture of permanent freedom requires multiple independent streams of capital. This involves a calculated mix of systemic investments, such as equity indexes, decentralized digital assets, and high-yield private equity. The average individual remains trapped because they prioritize instant gratification over generational leverage. Every unit of currency you waste on meaningless consumer items today is a direct theft from the absolute freedom of your future self.